Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. As promised, today I'm going to be releasing a video on the exact niche that I'm going to be going into with my new blog. As you guys know, I've been selling pretty much all of my blogs, and I'm coming to the end here, very close to the end. Probably within the next 15 days, all of them will be sold. And I'm prepared to create a few new ones. I'm not going to create too many, but I'm going to essentially be showing you guys one of the new niches or the new topics for one of my new blogs. And if you haven't caught yesterday's video, we went really deep in like a kind of like a study session, just talking about the number one most important aspect to creating this whole entire ebook niche or ebook business, right? If you want to create an ebook, you want to sell it, you want to have a landing page, you want to have a website, the number one place to start is obviously with your niche. I'll leave a link in the description for you to watch that video. I'll actually leave a link in the description to the entire playlist so that you can watch this kind of stuff. But for now, guys, I'm going to be revealing the very niche. So the very niche for me that I'm going to be talking about for my next ebook, and once again, creating a website around it, creating a landing page, doing the whole thing, is talking about how to build these mass rocket heaters. Now, what is that? This is a diagram of it here. Some people call them Russian stoves, and they look something like this, okay? I'll show you a picture of it. This one's on Pinterest. Let me see if I could find another one. This one, not too much, but this one more effective. Let's see here. This is another example, once again, probably a little bit small on the smaller side, but how to essentially build one of these. Now, the interesting thing about this is that people who use these are pretty much they're living in deep Siberia. So if you're not familiar, Siberia is a portion of Russia, which is essentially the deep, I guess you could say deep forest, definitely outside of Moscow and all the other kind of big cities like Kazan and, things like that. But people use these heaters to stay warm in weather of -30, -40 degrees Fahrenheit, even sometimes -50. Like, for example, there's an area in Russia called Yakutia, Russia, which is gets extremely cold. I think it's actually the coldest place in Russia. So the point here is these heaters, what they do is they're very good at preserving heat. And here in the U.S., people who want to have a general heating system, they'll either get like some central air heating, or they'll buy a space heater, maybe some sort of diesel fuel heater, or even, a wood stove heater. And people think that a wood stove heater is, the best option. And it actually is pretty decent, but it's actually bad at holding heat for a long period of time. Unlike a Russian stove, or I guess you could say these rocket heaters, but really I would call them more of a Russian stove. These types of heaters, what they do is they use a fraction of the wood, so maybe like a quarter, maybe even a fifth, and they'll heat for pretty much the whole day. They'll hold the heat for almost 24 hours, maybe about 17 hours, if done properly. And the way that they're supposed to be built is that they have these chambers internally in the heater that the heat kind of escapes and falls through and travels through these heaters, and the heat is kind of encapsulated in this type of brick, and the brick holds on to the heat for much longer. And that's, like I said, unlike what is being used here in the U.S. For the most part, the U.S. market has no idea about these types of heaters. So first thing, what we discussed is niche, right? And we talked about how it's very important to niche down. Well, in terms of niching down, just from a concept, without even going into the statistics, am I niching down if this is my niche? The answer is absolutely. Although they may be common in the eastern part of the world, they're definitely not common in the western part of the world. And who is my market audience? Because I'm going to write these blogs in English, and my ebook is going to be in English. It's going to be the western part of the world, the American part, right? And so my target could be homesteaders, it could be farmers, it could be people who live off the grid. That's kind of irrelevant it's generally people who are going to be searching how to heat their homes. But obviously, I'm going to be using very specific keywords to help me kind of control for the niche down approach. So I promised that I would kind of show you guys like a business plan as to how I'm going to do this. And so far, you guys kind of understand the concept. The concept is that I'm going to sell an ebook on how to build a stove that does this. And this is like a nice little diagram that kind of shows the fire goes here, the heat kind of rises, it gets funneled into this open area. The open area comes down here. Some of that heat is exposed into the flute, which in this case is the smoke. Obviously, things get very hot. Heat kind of fills up the area. Things get hot, fills up. Once the fire dies down, you shut the flute. The heat kind of just sifts through here and stays here and then emanates heat throughout the house. The point is that this is kind of like a diagram. So let's kind of work on this business plan, right? So number one, do we have the niche? Did I explain the niche that I'm going to get into? Yes. Is it niche down? Yes. Another way you can look, by the way, some people really need the assurance of numbers. I personally don't because I've been doing this for so long. But any kind of keyword tool that gives you numbers you can look into, and you can look at different keywords associated with it. So Russian stove diagram, Russian stove bed, Russian stove design, traditional Russian stove, modern Russian stove. You see the list go on, right? But overall, it says here keyword difficulty is pretty easy. The point is I can, and once again, because I'm a little bit more experienced and I've done this for a very long time, I could do a basic Google search for the word Russian stove. I could look at who's currently competing, and I know I have an open market here, just for the keyword Russian stove alone. My goal is not to rank for the keyword Russian stove. My goal is to introduce the concept of the Russian stove, and this is a huge part of the blueprint of the business plan, is my goal, and if you guys are watching this and you're taking notes, write this down. My goal is not, and I repeat, is not to rank for the keyword Russian stove. That's not my goal, okay? My goal is to introduce the concept of the Russian stove to people who are looking for a heating system. Okay, why? Anybody can answer the question why? Well, because that's how I gain value in the ebook in the customer's eyes. Okay? The customer, if they already knew about the benefits of Russian stoves and how to build them and how to set them up and why they're so important, the ebook would never sell because they already essentially have the answer. But I'm essentially offering them a life-changing scenario of them learning about this stove, which is absolutely life-changing, so that they can utilize it in their life, low cost of operation, and more importantly, extremely, extremely, extremely effective for what they're looking to do, and is the number one solution, and more importantly, they don't know about it, right? So what I'm doing here is I am essentially introducing them to a new concept. This in of itself is about 80% of the business plan. The other 20% is the soft skills, okay? What are the soft skills? The soft skills are the intangibles, the things that you cannot touch. What do I mean? When you create a landing page, what is the copy on that landing page? When you create the copy, what are you focused on? Are you focused on saying, hey, I have a 70-page ebook for sale? If that's the case, nobody's going to give a damn, okay? There's a certain way that you have to put your words together. We talked about this in the last video. It's called copywriting. I call it something else, but it's called copywriting, and it's the art of learning how to sell. And I will tell you that there is an art. It's done a very specific way, but there is an art. And there's many people who are experts at it. But it's essentially, and I don't want to give too much here because I'm not trying to get my YouTube channel taken down. But there are ways that you can essentially lead people down a certain path with words that you say. I'm not going to say too much here. Like I said, I'm not trying to get this YouTube channel taken down, but it's possible to effectively almost control someone with copywriting. That's why it's very important who you teach this kind of stuff to. And there are very bad people out there who use this kind of stuff in bad ways. That's all I'm going to say. But copywriting is a skill. It's almost like magic in a way. And I use magic, the word magic, very particularly. I'm not going to tell you why, at least not yet. People in the future will know, but I'm not going to explain why here. But it's an art. It's an art form for sure. And it could be used in the dark side. Let's just put it that way, the dark arts. But there's a specific way it's done. So copywriting, all right, that's one of the things that is a soft skill. People who are beginners, when I was a beginner, trust me, I knew nothing about copywriting. I tried to, it didn't even come up in my brain at the time. I just tried to give all the benefits of the product, explain what it is, and that was pretty much it. But there's much more to it. What are the other parts of the intangibles? Excuse me. Another part to the intangibles is how the ebook is written. The ebook has to be written in such a way that it gives the customer not only the satisfaction, but I guess you could say the fulfillment, feeling like they have got everything they need to begin. Now, this is a core concept with all the products that I sell. For people, for example, who take my courses or even watch these free videos, my goal is to help the end user at the highest supreme level. It is my primary focus, is to accomplish the goal. What's the goal? The goal is to get them to the other side of whatever they're trying to achieve or whatever they're trying to have. If the goal in my ebook is, for example, how to build a Russian stove, okay? If that's the case, then I'm going to give them every diagram, every screenshot, everything I could possibly offer to make it perfect for them. I'll give them price analysis. I'll give them, square foot heat. I'll give them all the I'll give them everything they need to know to get that job done, whatever it is. So it's a two-pronged approach. A lot of people think all the work has to be done beforehand on the sales page. That's not always the case, right? Part of the sales process is creating a very good product. You want your customer to not only trust in you, but to look at you in a way of reverence and honor. If you sold your customer a crap product, you know what that would be called? That would be called a scam. You would be a liar, and you wouldn't be a good person. You're essentially taking their money and giving them something that they did not pay for, which makes you a terrible person, right? If you went to a grocery store and you bought a box of cereal and you opened up the box of cereal and there was nothing in it, that grocery store would be a scamming grocery store. I mean, they wouldn't be good people selling that kind of product. So the point is that it's very important that you actually create a good product. Nobody's trying to pull a wool over people's eyes here. You need to develop a great reputation. You want people, when they read your books, to swear by it, to say, this is the best thing I've ever read. This helped me so much. That's what you need. And it's a two-part approach. Okay? It's beforehand, the work that's done beforehand, right? And once again, it's the articles or whatever, however you're going to build the traffic, the landing page building, all that kind of stuff. And it's then secondary, it's also the product. After they receive your product, in this case, it will be the ebook, that is doing selling for you. They have to, once again, feel fulfilled and satisfied about the quality of that product. So, am I for sure 100% that I'm going to write, or essentially be in the niche of how to build the stove? Maybe, maybe not. I think for me, that's where I'm leaning to. About 90%, that's where I'm leaning to. In fact, that might be the actual product that I sell, how to actually build a stove like this, or maybe 2 or 3, 4 different ways on how to do it, depending on the size of your house and depending on the needs. Because if the house is 3,000 square feet, the needs are going to be drastically different versus a house that's 500 square feet. I mean, drastically different needs. The stoves won't be nearly the same size. And, it's very important to take that into consideration. So I might look into that. But essentially, what I'm going to do, and this is the business plan, blueprint. Okay, I'm going to write blueprint here. All right, let's get into it. And we are 14 minutes in, 15 minutes in, 14 minutes and 45 seconds. Blueprint. What am I going to do? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the concept. In this case, my concept is how to build the Russian stove. That's the ebook. And I'm going to create the ebook, and I'm going to have it finished, okay? Now, let me get rid of this. Am I allowed to write here? What the hell is going on? Okay, anyways, I'm just going to have to do this without without this whiteboard. Let me go to a different whiteboard. Just bear with me. Whiteboard online. Okay, whiteboard online. All right, so I'm going to have my ebook finished, okay? Right after my ebook is finished, or while it's being finished, whatever, and I will write about it, I will have my website being created. Now, with my website, what is my website going to hold? What is it going to encapsulate? Well, it's going to encapsulate articles. I've spoken about this before, but I recommend generally anywhere from 45. Yeah, people could say 30. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but 30 to 45 on the low end. I really wouldn't go anything lower than 30 to about 90 articles. Really wouldn't go anything higher than 90 articles. If you have to go higher than 90, you probably messed up some sort of way. But generally around there, from 65 to 90 on the high end, from 30 to 45 on the low end. That's the amount of articles that I produce. And these articles, guys, are held into the website. The website is the asset that I have ownership over. And the website, the whole purpose of the website is to help be an organizational tool. This is also another thing a lot of people have to understand, is that it's an organizational tool to help people find the resources they need, to find the solutions they need. Their immediate solution is not my ebook, right? I'm not trying to stuff the ebook down their throats. It is not my ebook. The immediate solution is the articles. From the articles, right? What is the purpose of the articles? The articles is there to show them, hey, these people are American. They don't know about Russian stoves. This Russian stove will change your existence. You're not going to have to go out there and cut wood and do it 6 times a day and all this kind of nonsense. You're not going to have to do that only once or twice a day. Your family's going to be nice and warm. You're going to hold on to the heat. Everything's going to be amazing. You're going to save 90% on costs. You need that to be exposed in the articles, not in the actual, not pouring down the ebook down their throat, but pouring down that information down their throat. Make it very visible to them that, hey, if you get a Russian stove, it's going to help you. Then from there, then they look into, by nature, because the articles are going to host information around the ebook. By nature, they're going to look for a solution. They're going to look for help. They're going to look to take action. And from there, taking action looks like buying the ebook, because how else are they going to figure out how to do this? Every other video is in Russian, okay? Every other piece of information around how to actually build the stove is in Russian. They don't know what the hell is going on. They don't know what bricks to use. Unless they speak Russian, which is unlikely, they don't know about the switches, the panels. They don't know anything related to that. So that's an advantage, but that's kind of the business plan or the blueprint. Now, from there, obviously, doing SEO into the articles, doing the necessary work to get the articles seen on Google, that's not too hard, especially because we're more niche down, once again. And being niche down is a natural successor, I guess you can say. Successor is not the right word because that doesn't make sense, but it's a thing that naturally helps you become successful when you do the niche down approach. And if this is the first video you've seen of mine related to this kind of concept, you got to watch my playlist. I'll leave a link in the description, but watch the whole playlist. That will help you out dramatically. But when you're niching down, you're avoiding a lot of competition, and that's going to just free the way for you to make money. Now, as far as the ebook price, I think I might go with a 47. 47 seems pretty fair. Might go a little bit. I think 47 is a little bit good. I think the highest I'll go is like 59, but other than that, pretty decent. It will have it might be like 300 pages long, who knows, but it will teach them pretty much everything they need to know. And that's really it. That's the business plan. So very simple. People are going to be searching for keywords related to it. They'll be finding the articles. The articles are going to lead them to more articles. I'll collect people's emails. From there, I'll be prompting them to read more articles. The articles will then prompt them to purchase the ebook, or, when they're ready, they'll purchase the ebook. And that will be that. All right. So very, very simple. Now, if I wanted to hire somebody and I'll pay them like 10 grand, for example, to make a whole video course on it, teaching them how to put the bricks together, how to do the cement, how to do the whole thing. I could do that. But then again, I probably have to contract somebody in Russia because, I want it done authentically. I want it done precisely, which is not really easy right now to do because I don't feel like going halfway across the world to figure that out. But, you get the point. I mean, I could do it on social media, but at the same time, it is generally a hassle. I'd much rather do it in person. But, at the same time, hey, it is what it is. So you guys get the point, right? Am I going to fly all the way to Russia right now to figure out where I could find some stonemason guy to build one of these stoves and so I can record him and pay him 10 grand? Absolutely not. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the easier approach. We're going to set up the ebook. We're going to use AI to write it. Of course, with my own expertise, we're going to add information to it. But that's essentially it. That's the business plan. You guys saw the niche. You guys saw the business plan. I exposed this whole thing. We're 4 videos deep into this series. Maybe I might build this live, like on a course side of things. Who knows? If that's something you're interested in, let me know. There's a lot of parts to this business. It's not just about building the ebook. Like I said, there's the copywriting. There's so many different sides of things. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon. Peace out. Bye.